Imagine stumbling upon ancient clay tablets, thousands of years old, that tell stories of powerful beings descending from the sky to teach humanity everything: science, math, how to build a civilization. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? Well, this is exactly what the ancient Sumerians wrote down. So today, we're diving into the incredible and very mysterious story of their gods, the Anunnaki. And that's really the big question we're going to explore. Because when you see a civilization suddenly leap forward thousands of years, almost out of nowhere, you've got to wonder, what if their stories about getting help from the heavens were a little more than just myths?
Okay, so before we can even talk about the gods, we have to understand the people who wrote about them. The Sumerians weren't just another ancient culture. In so many ways, they were the first. And the civilization they built was, well, it was absolutely mind-blowing for its time.
They popped up in Mesopotamia, what we now call Iraq, and flourished for over 2,000 years. Starting way back around 4500 BC, they basically laid the foundation for modern life, building these incredible, thriving cities right in the middle of a harsh desert.
This number right here, this is the key to their genius. See, we count in a base 10 system. They used a base 60 system. And if that sounds ancient and irrelevant, think again. It's the reason we have 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 360 degrees in a circle. Yep, we are literally still using their math every single day.
And their genius didn't stop with math, not by a long shot. They gave us the world's first writing system, cuneiform. They invented the wheel. They had complex legal codes, organized cities, formal schools, all while much of the world was still living in scattered villages. These guys were thousands of years ahead of the curve.
So it just begs the question, right? How did they get so advanced so fast? Well, if you read their own records, they're pretty clear about it. They say they had help. Their history is completely dominated by these powerful figures who came from the sky, the Anunnaki.
And the name itself is a massive clue. Anunnaki pretty much translates to those who from the heavens came down. Their own texts describe these beings coming down from the sky and taking a direct role in human development, teaching them everything from farming to looking at the stars. And among these beings, you've got three main players. There was Anu, the big boss, the supreme leader, who kind of watched from a distance. Then you have his son, Enlil, the god of authority, who was way more hands-on and was said to have brought on a great flood. And then there's Enki, the god of wisdom, who was seen as humanity's protector and #1 teacher. But what's so wild is that these beings weren't described as perfect, all-knowing gods. Not at all. The tablets show them as being really complex. They argued with each other, they showed compassion, they even made huge mistakes. This really human-like portrayal, it adds a layer of realism that just makes you think.
So, what are we really looking at here? Are these just elaborate myths, amazing stories to explain the world? Or could they be a kind of distorted memory, a record of something that actually happened?
And this question is really at the heart of the whole mystery. The Sumerians had an unbelievably detailed knowledge of astronomy. They mapped out constellations, they tracked the planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and they knew they moved differently than the stars. How? With no telescopes? Well, they said the Anunnaki taught them.
So the debate really boils down to this. The mainstream academic view is that their knowledge came from centuries of patient skywatching by really dedicated scribes. But the alternative view asks, what if we just take their stories at face value? What if this advanced knowledge was actually given to them, passed down from a much more advanced source?
Now, this alternative view was made famous by an author named Zacharias Sitchin. He put forward this radical theory based on his reading of the tablets, that the Anunnaki weren't gods at all. They were extraterrestrial visitors from a planet we haven't even discovered yet, right in our own solar system.
Now we have to be super clear about this. Sitchin's work is extremely controversial. Mainstream academics, the actual experts in the Sumerian language, they overwhelmingly reject his translations. The consensus is that he misinterpreted a lot of the text to make it fit his theory.
But you don't have to leap straight to aliens. There are other ideas. What if the Anunnaki were simply people, but from a much more advanced human culture that's been lost to time? Think about it. If you took a helicopter and a smartphone back a few thousand years, wouldn't you seem like a god? Your technology would be totally supernatural to them.
So with all these different theories flying around, why can't we just get a straight answer? Well, the simple truth is that the puzzle is nowhere near complete. the mystery is still very much alive, and for some pretty good reasons.
For starters, we're working with broken evidence. Thousands of these tablets are lost or have been destroyed. The Sumerian language itself is incredibly difficult, and just a tiny difference in translation can change the meaning of a whole story. Plus, we're constantly finding new things, like the site Göbekli Tepe, which is way older than Sumer, and keeps forcing us to rethink our whole timeline of human history.
And then you've got head-scratchers like this. This is a cylinder seal VA243, and, well, just look at it. To a lot of people, that looks exactly like a model of our solar system with the sun in the middle and planets orbiting it. If that's what it is, it's a diagram that's thousands of years ahead of its time. Mainstream scholars see it differently, but it's artifacts like this that keep the debate raging.
The academic world, it moves slowly and carefully. It's built on evidence that you can check and double-check. So whenever a new theory comes along that wants to completely rewrite the history books, it's almost always met with skepticism and labeled fringe. That's not a conspiracy, it's just how science works.
And so, that's where we're left. We know the tablets are real. We know the Sumerians had knowledge of math and the cosmos that was way beyond their time. The evidence is right there. But the one piece of the puzzle that's still missing, the one question that remains, is who were their teachers?